Hello and welcome to Thinking Outside the Box with me, Tim Box.
And me, Britt Box.
We talk about all things to do with the mind and your mental and emotional well-being, but we're not doctors, so don't confuse any of our ramblings for medical advice. And although we come at this subject with a slightly light-hearted approach, please don't think we trivialise any of the things we talk about, because we certainly don't. But we do come at it from a different perspective, hence Thinking Outside the Box. And today it is episode 13.
Dun, dun, dun.
Sinister music. And we're going to, because it's the 13th episode, we thought we'd be on topic and we're going to talk about superstitions.
Very superstitious.
Oh, nice.
Riding down the wall.
Wow, it's taken 13 episodes for you to start singing. That's actually...
it's a record.
It is actually, yeah. Right, so yeah, 13 is traditionally a bad luck number, isn't it? And that's why we thought we'd cover superstitions. Because the funny thing was, when we came to do this, I was like, oh, should we skip episode 13 and go straight to episode 14? Because that you see that a lot, don't you, when people don't use the number 13?
Yes. Well, one of the reasons I wanted to... So let me just preface this, by the way. I might sound a little bit different on this podcast and the podcasts following for the next however long, because at the grand old age of 32, I have had braces put on. And I have I'm still struggling with them. I've only had them put on this week. So S's are I'm spitting everywhere. It's a thing, it's a whole thing, and I'm getting used to it. So
titling this episode with a word that has 3 S's in it was not the best thing for you.
Probably not. But if you hear anything different in my speech, please just ignore it. Don't draw attention to it. But one of the reasons we wanted to do superstition is a few episodes ago we did wisdom from our parents, and I specifically spoke about my nan and all the weird stuff that she thought. One of which included waving at birds, but we'll get onto that. And when I told this story, you looked at me funny, and I said to you, no, it's a thing. I'm sure it's a thing. And I was inundated with messages of people saying, yep, definitely a thing. And then they started to tell me other sort of superstitions and ideas that they have had growing up through their parents and grandparents.
Yeah.
So I thought it would be a great opportunity to talk about the common things that people think, why they might think them, and, include some absolute batshit ones as well, just for good measure.
A fair few, to be fair. We will eventually pivot round to emotional well-being and mental health in terms of how this relates to our state of mind and stuff like that. But this has just been a really interesting one to do a bit of research on, because we accept so many superstitions just as part of our culture.
As fact.
Yeah, like that's how it is.
Yeah.
And it was just really interesting to actually see the explanation behind them and what we're actually warding off with these particular superstitions.
Yes, because some of them I have grown up with because, like I say, if you listen to that previous episode, you'll know my nan believed all manner of things. And it was only today when we were doing our research that I looked into it, and I looked into why we do the thing. And I'm like, that's insane.
The other thing I wanted to say as well, the thing about 13, hotels sometimes don't label the 13th floor or don't have a 13th room.
Very, very often don't have a 13th room, which I think is fantastic.
Well, it is really, and also airlines, sometimes they won't have a 13th row.
I did not know that.
No, you see, it's quite commonly held. These superstitions that we have, they're not just us, the normal people walking around quietly mumbling them to ourselves. They're actually incorporated into our everyday existence.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I asked on my social media, I put a call out this week and I said, please tell me your superstitions. Tell me ones that your family had, that you have, ones that you believed, just anything and everything. And I am pleased to report that I've received a plethora of superstitions.
You guys did not let us down.
No, you did not. So I'm going to go through some of these, and I'm going to go through a little bit as to why we do them as well.
Yes.
And then, obviously, I know that Tim has some things that he wants to dive into as well first.
I'm going to cut across you
Go
before
for it.
you start doing
Go
that.
for it.
I looked up definitions of superstition because I'm quite a fan of the actual...
Is there just a picture of Stevie Wonder?
Exactly. Well, if you Google image search, I think you get Stevie Wonder. But, okay, so what do you want first? Do you want the dictionary definition or do you want the Wikipedia definition.
Okay, well, considering Wikipedia is not something that can be trusted, I'm going to go first with the dictionary, please.
Okay, good choice, good choice. Right, in the dictionary, a superstition is a widely held but irrational belief in supernatural influences.
Amazing.
Especially as leading to good or bad luck.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is the thing. I was interested to see that word supernatural, because I was like, yeah, I suppose it is, isn't it? It is kind of implying that a belief in some supernatural force.
Some external force that something's going to happen. What I will say is the ones I've looked up definitely are all luck. Like, do this thing or bad things will happen. Yeah.
I find this interesting as well, because obviously I deal a lot with people dealing with anxiety, and a lot of the source of their anxiety is the inability to control certain aspects of life and existence.
Yes.
So superstitions kind of buy into that idea that if we develop some sort of ritual or some sort of unrelated causal input, then it will influence what's going on.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure we'll go on to it later in the podcast, but I assume, you know, there's a big difference between, I'll wear my lucky pants today, and, you know, I can't leave the house unless I wash my hands 12 times.
Wait, hang on. Yeah, so my lucky pants aren't doing anything.
I don't have lucky pants. All of my pants have been very lucky.
This is the thing. Yeah, I mean, we're not gonna drift into, you know, what we might call obsessive compulsive behaviour or stuff like that. Even though you could argue that's kind of taking this kind of after this, therefore because of this sort of thinking
and what's
to
the
extremes.
Latin of that, please?
You mean post hoc ergo propter hoc?
There we go.
the saying that we use for the idea that something that you do because they happen around the same time, one causes the other. So the example that we might use is the cockerel crows and the sun rises. Therefore, it's the cockerel crowing that causes the sun to rise.
Yes.
So all of those sorts of things that we hold and we believe have some sort of influence on the world, even though that logical bit of us says, I don't think that really works, does it? You know, and I guess you could argue that OCD is the point where that belief takes hold, rather than is just something that
the background,
that you're aware of in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
Right, I've got to do the Wikipedia definition though.
I'm really glad I went with the dictionary.
It entertains me.
Go on.
Okay, the reason I look at Wikipedia for definitions is because whilst the dictionary is where we go for our actual definition, Wikipedia is that thing that we, the common man, update. And if nobody challenges it, it gets kept there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So is this like when I listed myself as a person of note from Maidstone?
Well, exactly. Yeah.
I don't think it's still there, but I did do it just for the lols.
Surely no one has challenged that. I can't believe it. But the point being that, you know, this is what the general populace believe these things mean. This is like the modern definition, if you like. So it has value in terms of this is what people think.
Yes. Okay.
So a superstition is a belief or practice typically resulting from ignorance, a misunderstanding of science or causality.
I mean, that's just rude.
A belief in fate or magic, perceived supernatural influence, or fear of that which is unknown.
Well, isn't everything we fear unknown?
Oh, that's a good. Cool. There's a whole topic of conversation there. I just it's interesting though. I find that one a little bit more judgy. That definition.
That's someone who's had a bad day. That is.
It is really somebody who's tired of their other half's shit about all the stuff that they need to do. Yeah, that sounds like that, doesn't it?
Amazing. Well, with that in mind,
go for it.
I'd like to talk about these. So the top one that came out actually was the one that I spoke about that my nan used to do, which is the saluting magpies. And we had input here from Sophie, Charlotte, Lisa, Claire, Chantel, Rebecca, and so many more people, all saying that that they saluted magpies for one reason or another. Now, I looked it up, and even though, so I found like a forum post that said something like, it's from 11th, 12th century England.
Okay.
But couldn't find anything else to back that up. But I did find, first written down and recorded in 1777, in John Brown's book, Observations on Popular Antiquities in Lincolnshire, which sounds like a real page turner. And also it says, as magpies usually mate for life, seeing one on its own is a sign of sorrow because it's lost its mate, whereas if you see two, it's a sign of joy as it's with its mate. That's why when you see single magpies, you ask after his wife, thus suggesting he has a mate and is in fact happy, hence the rhyme, one for sorrow, two for joy.
Okay, that's exactly the reason I thought it was, actually. I've not heard of people asking after its wife.
Yeah, so this was it. It was like, hello, Mr. Magpie, how are your wife and kids? That's
why is
the
it
thing.
why are we assuming it's a male?
I know, I don't know, but also it's the full rhyme. It's like a full 10-line rhyme, I think, and it's like 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy, 3 for a girl, 4 for a boy. So it's like, so I'm assuming if you're pregnant, you see 4 magpies,
okay.
you best paint the nursery blue. Like,
Yeah.
It sounds insane.
Hey, it's science.
But so that's the most common one, and that's the one that my nan used to do all of the time. And it's really funny because it's not something that I did. I've done growing up or as an adult. It maybe it's why I've had bad luck, but it was just something that I assumed of why I knew people did it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get you.
But yeah, it's apparently because if it's on its own, it's sad. But that was the most popular one through my Instagram that people messaged and replied about.
Wow, that's interesting because I did a bit of research into common superstitions and their origins.
Yeah,
that one didn't come up.
Really?
But I'm aware of it. It's not like I'm a little bit surprised it didn't because it's one of those ones that we know about, isn't it? But yeah, shall I give you one of the ones that I found?
Yeah, please do.
Along with the theme that we're on here, in terms, we've already talked about number 13, Friday the 13th being a bad luck day.
Yes.
Right.
Tell me about that.
Okay, so my research, I say my research, when
His
I
Googled
it,
that counts as a medical degree these days.
Well, exactly, Dr. Google. Can you tell me what's going on? But the thing I found that although 13th has always been considered a bad luck number in like many cultures,
yes.
Okay, the reason that often it gets attributed for that is that Judas was the 13th guest at the Last Supper.
I see.
Yeah.
So it's the damn Christians again.
It's the Christians bringing the, and also Jesus was crucified on a Friday. So
was
Friday the 13th, apparently so. I mean, that might be
wrong.
wrong.
On Friday the 13th?
I don't know if he was crucified on Friday the 13th,
okay.
exactly. But
so they've taken two things and made one thing out of it.
That sounds to me like somebody trying to put meaning on something that already existed.
Yeah.
It almost sounded like I'm trying to spin it into something that I can relate to.
Why do I think Friday the 13th was to do with the Salem witch trials as well? Why do I feel like that? I think I should have looked at that. I feel like that has sparked a memory somewhat.
Oh, wow, okay.
Also, something I know is that animal shelters won't let you, and I was going to say hire or rent, but they're not the words I'm looking for, adopt a black cat on or around a Friday the 13th and on or around Halloween.
Oh, wow.
For their own safety.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, because they're just getting a black cat for the party sort of thing. Or
Pretty
just
much.
because it's in...
Or more nefarious purposes.
It's like a black cat's for life, not just for Halloween.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Do you know why black cats are considered to do? I've got that one down.
Oh, you've got that one as well?
I've
No,
got that
I
one
don't.
down here. Yeah, this
Please.
is one of the ones. Black cats are considered bad luck because they were believed to be the companions of witches.
Ah.
So if you saw a black cat, it was very likely there was a witch living in the area.
I used to have a black cat.
Well, there you go.
Kira's got a black cat.
Oh, Kira's got one, yeah.
Kira's
My
got
friend
a black
Kira. Yeah.
Mr. Niles, who's a girl.
Amazing. An angry girl, as I understand.
Yeah, maybe because she's called Mr. Niles.
Yeah, exactly. She's constantly being misgendered. But,
poor cat.
But the funny thing is, the interesting thing that came up when I was looking at this stuff is that for all of their bluster and their posturing, Hitler and Napoleon were both terrified of black cats.
I did not know this.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting.
I did not know this.
It might be one of those sort of, that's a bit of old wives' tale legend.
Yeah.
But I thought that was an interesting fact that popped up.
That is good. And also, Egyptians, they revered, is that the word?
Yeah,
revered cats.
Yeah.
Cats got bigger tombs than people.
I mean, I know some people would be very happy with that.
One I also got, going back to the Instagram poll, the next popular one that was given in by Olivia, Jenny, Loz, and a few other people was not to walk under a ladder. Now, we briefly spoke about this, and I looked it up, and you looked it up, and we both came to two very different reasons as to why people don't walk under ladders. So the definition I have got is a popular everyday superstition. Many people avoid walking under ladders for fear of the bad luck it will bring. One origin of this superstition dates back to medieval times when ladders were connected to a symbol of the gallows, a place where people were hanged. To walk under a ladder would be to meet the same unfortunate fate.
Wow.
Which is dark.
It's quite dark, isn't it, actually? So the one
you got something different.
Yeah, the one I've got, I mean, to be fair, when you look this one up, the thing that comes up first is most people don't do it because something might fall on them.
So there's a ladder there for a reason. Someone's gone up.
Exactly. So I don't walk under ladders because in case something drops on my head.
For health and safety.
But it's not like once I'm the other side of the ladder. I mean, that's the episode finished then. I'm not thinking about it afterwards thinking, well, that's going to be bad luck. I'm just like, okay, I've survived that walking under a ladder.
Yeah.
And I only do it if the alternative would be to walk into the road.
I'm surprised you would notice the ladder.
Yeah, I'm a bit oblivious, that has to be said, as we know, that I have a reputation for not really noticing what's going on around me.
Captain Oblivion.
Anyway, so my definition that I found, though, was because triangles in many cultures symbolise life, in many mythologies as well, all throughout the ages. So the ladder leant against the wall forms a triangle, and it's bad luck to walk through the centre of the triangle because you might either awaken spirits or tempt the fates. And so if you accidentally do that, you then have to cancel that. Do you want to know what you do to cancel it? This will be helpful for everyone. Here's a top tip for you. If you do that, you put, and I don't know which hand it is. It didn't specify a hand. Right. But you put your thumb in between your middle finger and your index finger and squeeze.
We're both doing it. Yeah.
And squeeze for 5 seconds.
5 specific seconds?
5 specific seconds.
Right, okay.
And you can also do, got your nose as well.
That's what it looks like, doesn't it? I love it. I love it. Okay, so the next one from my Instagram list is one that I grew up with and one that I still do today. If you ask me why I did it, I'd probably say because grandmother.
Amazing.
But I do this, and I would like to know how many people do this. So it is never putting new shoes on a table.
Oh, I'm sure my mum said that one to me as well.
So it was sent in Olivia, Ray, Jessica, a couple of other people. But I do this one, which is why I was really interested in talking about this one. I will never, ever, ever put new shoes on a table. However, if I've worn them even once, that's fine. They're okay. I can put them on the table.
See, then you've just put dirty shoes on the table.
Now, the reason I found, traditionally, the saying warns of bad luck because new shoes were often put on the dead before they were laid to rest on a table.
Oh,
I'll tell you, they're all dark.
It is about
Everything medieval is dark.
Well, it's the dark ages, isn't it? I suppose. Wow, that is dark. But I remember that one as well. That's definitely one that I've grown up with. And I know.
Have you ever noticed me not doing it?
You've stopped me doing it before because I can't even think why I would put shoes on the table. Yeah. But there was definitely a time when you stopped me from doing that.
Yes.
For that particular bewildering reason, also.
No new shoes on a table. And I won't even. To that point, I won't even put new shoes that are still in their box on the table.
Oh.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, that's interesting.
They go on the floor. And I don't know what. I just won't do it.
Okay, so by that rationale, what happens if you order some shoes through the post and you don't realise the package is your shoes and you put the package on the table to open the package? Have you just condemned yourself to bad luck?
Oh, I might have. No, because I'm not wittingly doing it. I'm not knowledgeably doing it.
So it's okay.
It has to be done purposefully, I think.
Right. So the gods will allow you.
You're
off the hook if you didn't know what you were doing.
If you did it by accident, I think that's okay.
Brilliant.
But if you,
that's the official rules.
That's the line,
of superstition.
But if you also don't put new shoes on a table, get in touch.
Okay, there's another one similar to that though. Opening an umbrella inside.
Yeah, I had that a few times as well.
I know you don't do that.
I do not.
Yeah, and my thinking is you might knock things over because obviously umbrellas are for outside where you can wield them.
Yes,
but the thing I looked up the official reason,
definition.
One of the reasons why this might be is because umbrellas, where they shade you from the sun, are in some cultures, is that the right word, considered sacred. And what this means is that if you open the umbrella inside, out of the light of the sun, you could potentially offend the sun god.
Okay. That's not why I thought I did it.
I would be surprised if it were.
Also, I feel there's a caveat to this one as well, that I feel you are allowed to do it on stage.
Oh, so if you're pretending to be outside?
Yeah, so if you're doing like Singing in the Rain, or you're being Tom Holland doing Umbrella, you're allowed to then.
I think it's amazing that would spring to mind, that you would require that particular
caveat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's amazing.
No, why don't I do it actually? Do you know what? It is probably because it's a mixture of Okay, here's why I think I don't do it. It's a mixture of I've been told not to. So, like, I've never put my hand on an iron that's on because I know it's hot, but I've never actually done it to test that it's hot. But it's just something I've never done. So, by the same token, I've never opened an umbrella inside because I've been told not to. So I just don't.
You know what? I bet that's what it is. A lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, my mum, she's not religious in any way, and I'm pretty sure when I've asked her, she doesn't believe in anything after death.
No,
but she absolutely has quite a few superstitions on board.
Brilliant.
And she won't do the opening umbrella thing inside.
Also,
either.
If you open an umbrella inside, it's just harder to get the umbrella outside, which is where you're going to eventually go. Surely,
it's just good planning.
Otherwise, you have to sort of do that weird kind of getting it around the corner.
Awkward. Trying to Tetris it through the door.
Okay. So, one of the next ones I've got here is another one that I grew up with. And interestingly, could not find any definition for it.
Oh.
Could not find any reason why, any logical reason why we don't do this.
Okay.
But this was one that I can remember was told to me when I was young and has just kind of stuck with me.
Okay.
To the point where if I accidentally sort of do it today, I still feel a bit weird about it.
Okay.
So, given in by Lynn, Lisa, Molly, Terry, and a few other people.
Oh, wow.
Not walking across 3 drains.
What?
You've never heard this one?
Never.
You've never heard this one?
What do you mean 3 drains?
Right. I should get a picture up. But when you're walking along the street, next time we're doing it, I'll push you out the way. When we're walking along the street, there'll be drain covers, these square drain covers, right? And if there's 3 of them in a row, you don't walk over them. You don't walk over 3 drains.
Oh.
But here's the thing. If you walk over 2, it's good luck. If you walk over 3, it's bad luck.
Oh my God.
And if you walk over 3, you can counteract the bad luck with a repel by walking over 1.
Oh my God. That's
Have you never heard this?
I've never heard of that one.
Oh my God. Can everyone who is listening, if you have, please can you send Tim a direct message on Instagram? He's at Timbox Mind Coach to say, yes, you know the 3 drains thing.
Amazing. So I'm going to get lots of pictures of 3 drains with people saying, I did not walk over this.
Please take pictures of 3 drains and tag at Timbox Mind Coach.
Brilliant.
You've never heard of this one?
No, I haven't. I'll tell you what I do, though, that I only noticed 2 days ago.
Go on.
And I know it's right on the fringe of my conscious awareness as I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But I only noticed it as a thing that I do because I think we were thinking about superstitions and it was coming into my mind. But I don't stand, if I can avoid it, I don't stand on cracks.
Amazing.
On paving stones. Even if it's quite small paving stones, I'll try and time my steps so I'm in between the cracks.
Why?
I don't know. I suspect when I was at primary school or nursery school or whatever it was, we had this thing, and I don't know if this was a thing for everyone, but if you'd get the sort of service hatches, not in the floors, you'd get the maintenance hatches, and you'd have them dotted around the school in the flooring that had been put in. And if you trod on one of them, you had fleas. that was the cause and effect.
That's fine. Yeah. But the 3 drains thing is the weird one.
And I think it was something around that time.
Now, interesting you should say that, because one of the ones I have here was sent in by Amber. And it was stepping on cracks, pavement cracks, would break my mother's back. And she said she had a bad back anyway, so it always scared me.
Oh my God.
And then also Sarah said not stepping on the cracks, and then my granddad did crazy paving on the driveway.
Amazing. How could you ever get home again? Yeah.
So there you go. You're not the only one.
Well, there you go.
There.
See, I'm not. I didn't know why though. The other thing that I did that I've realised as well, if I was walking along a street and I was having to stand on some cracks at some point because it would just look weird if I tried to check my stride so that I didn't. Yeah. Then I would do a little keep score in my head. So as long as I stood on more not cracks than cracks, it was okay.
That was fine, and that counted out.
So I'd be like 3-2, 4-2, 4-3, 5-3, that sort of thing. I'd be doing that in my head, and you
would look like Rain Man.
Yeah, a bit. Yeah, there's still a little bit of that going on. I fear in my mind.
So the other ones I've got now, from here down, these are ones that I have never heard of. Mm-hmm. I never do. But I was really interested to hear other people talk about them. So there's one here that was sent in by 2 people, by Charlotte and by Sarah. And it was, don't do washing on New Year's Day. And Sarah even added onto this that her dad will always call to make sure they don't do washing on New Year's Day.
That's amazing.
Now, I looked this up, and the only thing I could find was, and again, dark, don't do laundry on New Year's Day or a member of the family will be washed away.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
What's funnier still is when I looked it up, the end of that, obviously very sinister, obviously we know what it's inferring. It had in brackets in the end, i.e. die.
Just to translate the old law there, it means die.
Yeah. Which is dark.
It is, again, it's always about people dying, isn't it?
And it's always, honestly, medieval. Do you know what I think it was? I think I've just solved it. These all come from medieval times when people were dying left, right and centre because of things like lack of vaccines, lack of healthcare, lack of, just...
The plague, things like that,
things like this. People were just dying all the time. And I think they were trying to come up with reasons why. So it was like, oh, did you do laundry on New Year's Day?
That was what it was.
That'll be it.
Quick, burn them. Burn the witch.
Exactly.
I've got one about the plague.
Oh, yeah.
By the way. Or one that I thought was about the plague, which probably most people did. When you sneeze and you say bless you.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. That I always say bless you. Always do.
Yeah,
Never miss a chance to say bless you. And I get marginally offended if you don't bless me when I sneeze.
Yes, very true.
But I thought it was because, and then this is listed as one of the reasons, in 1665, when the plague swept through the populace, the Pope ordered everyone to bless each other when somebody sneezed because it was an indicator that you were probably going to die, because sneezing was one of the symptoms of early plague.
Is that where it came from?
Yeah, well, I
allegedly
thought it was, but there's earlier stuff here. Okay. This was blessing somebody when they sneeze. It predates the plague. So the Romans believed that when you sneezed, you released the soul. Okay. And to offer a blessing at that time, kept it safely home with you. Put it back in, sort of thing, if you know what I mean. It was almost like the verbal catch and return sort of thing. But there is an even earlier listing, 6th century. Sixth.
I'm dribbling everywhere.
Yeah, you shouldn't have attempted to repeat that in your current state. 6th century, if you sneezed, blessing somebody was congratulatory because it was believed that you were releasing evil spirits from you.
Fantastic.
So you're expelling them.
Fantastic.
Yeah? Which I suppose I can sort of relate to.
This is what happens before we had medical schools.
Yeah, probably, and science.
And science. Okay, this one I liked. Where is it? So Ria messaged in, and it was one that her mum says, and it's, I shouldn't have actually attempted this, no sewing on a Sunday.
Wow.
So just no sewing should be done on a Sunday, and I wasn't able to find a reason why, other than Sunday, innit?
Day of rest.
Day of rest.
Anything, innit? I mean, I think I've safely avoided breaking that particular superstition because I don't believe I've ever done sewing, or certainly not since I was a young'un.
No.
At school.
And one of the other really ones that just made me guffaw was sent in by Meg. If you cross on the stairs, you'll have ginger twins.
Amazing. What a curse. I feel like there's going to be somewhere a mum listening to this with ginger twins going, how dare you?
Or going, oh, well, I did cross someone on the stairs.
That was the reason.
I did have a few messages of don't cross people on the stairs.
Yeah, again.
I think that's just a polite thing.
I think it is as well, but that's definitely something that I grew up with. Again, I remember my mum and my dad both saying don't cross on the stairs. It was just something that... But again, I think they were just being mindful of us not knocking each other over and having a child fall down the stairs.
It was just more health and safety than anything
I think
else.
It was, yeah.
No, I'd never heard this one. Yeah, I thought that was quite interesting.
So that's the first time you've heard crossing on the stairs?
No, the Ginger Twins.
Oh, I've never heard the Ginger Twins one, no.
Maybe that's what Molly Weasley did.
Maybe that's what it was. Or maybe just, two ginger people falling in love.
Well, ginger is the dominant gene, isn't it?
Apparently so.
I believe it is.
I've heard it is.
So if you mate with a ginger, your children will be ginger as well.
Didn't it say at some point, mate with a ginger? At some point, we'll all be ginger. Everyone on the planet will be ginger because the ginger is the dominant gene.
Well, I think a few people maybe in, other parts of the world might not be ginger.
Oh, yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I see what you mean now. You're talking racial differentials there. Yeah, I get that.
Everyone's not going to be ginger.
But you know what I mean? That there was some, I'm sure it's sort of program on it.
Was Louis Theroux hosting
it? Was it a program or was it a YouTube video that I stumbled across?
Or was it a late night episode of Eurotrash?
It might have been something like that.
If anyone remembers Eurotrash.
I remember Eurotrash. Amazing. What else? Would you want me to give you another one?
Go for it.
Okay, so I like this one.
Go on.
Having an itchy palm.
Yes. Okay, I know this one, but it
Right.
depends if it's the which one is it?
Well,
isn't it?
what have you got on itchy palm then?
Okay, I've got nothing written down. This is just what I know.
Yeah, I
And
mean from your memory banks.
from my memory banks, I believe if your palm is itching, it's to do with money, and it's right receive, left relieve.
Amazing. I didn't know that rhyme, but that's
Yeah.
what I've got as well.
Oh, that's what my nan used to
If
say.
your left palm's itchy, money's going out. If
Yeah.
your right palm's itchy, money's coming in. If you don't want to counteract that, by the way, don't scratch it. If you've got your right palm itchy, you're coming into money. If you scratch it, you've jinxed it. It's done.
Well, it goes away.
You've buggered it. Yeah, you can't.
Where does the money go?
Well, I don't know. I suppose it just goes onto somebody else's right palm.
Oh,
maybe.
okay.
But that's apparently how it works.
No, my nan used to say right. What was it? Right receive, left relieve. Yeah,
That's
money.
quite good. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that
There's
was
always
just.
a rhyme as well. Isn't there?
Do you know what? There's always. Have you ever noticed as well that like nursery rhymes and kids rhymes from years gone by, again, always a sinister meaning.
Yes, yeah, like
Because what was it? Ring and Roses. That
a
was
tissue will fall down, which again, Black Death.
Wow.
And again, sneezing related to having
Black Death.
Black Death.
Oh my god! I'm glad we haven't got Black Death. Black Death not having a resurgence, is it? That's where
I don't think it. I mean, is it trending?
I did. I read the like. I'm sure it was somewhere. Oh no, I hope not. Anyway, I'll carry on. Talking of death. This one I've never heard of, but was sent in again by a few people, by Rachel and Andrea, and Olivia as well. And this was holding your breath when you walk past a cemetery.
Oh my god!
And I would like to add to that, possibly my favourite thing I've read all week. Olivia would also hold her breath and walk past a cemetery, but would also at some point shout, "Purple cow."
Amazing. Is that just her thing, or
Okay,
Unclear.
I couldn't find anything about the purple cow.
which has not surprised me?
Not surprising. Very sorry, Olivia. I could not find anything about the purple cow. The only thing I found about holding your breath when you're walking past a cemetery was you must hold your breath when you go past a cemetery, or else you will breathe in the soul of someone who has recently died.
Oh my! You imagine telling this to children?
I know, it's ridiculous. Now, here's the funny thing. A little fun fact that you may or may not know about me. I love hanging out in cemeteries, as you well know. I love walking around cemeteries. I love reading the stones. I love sitting there with a coffee. It's cemeteries and graveyards of all kinds, especially really, really old ones.
The result of that for me is that I spend a lot more time in cemeteries than I used to.
They are some of my favourite places to be, and I will spend hours there. So I could not hold my breath.
No, that'd be detrimental to your health, I feel.
It very much would. Yeah. Right, what else you got?
What have I got? Okay, let me pick a good one. So one that I sort of do. I'm aware that if I say something like, well, that'll work out fine, or I'm going to touch wood. After I'm
Right.
going to and it'll be my head if there's no actual wood
But
around.
your head isn't made of wood.
Yeah, but this that's traditionally like, that sort of thing.
Do you know what? The knock on wood thing I've heard, that didn't come up on my Instagram poll. The knock on wood thing I have heard. And I do know of the touching your head, but I can never work out how your head is a replacement for wood in any way, shape or form.
Yeah, I get that, but when you've got no wood around you, what you're going to do? You can't knock on plastic, can you? It's like,
chipboard.
Yeah, exactly. But do you want to know why though? Do you want to know the reason that I found?
I would like.
There is a Christian reason, obviously, because I feel like the Christian religion has sort of adapted and adopted many traditions.
Yeah.
Which is because Christ was crucified on the cross, so
Right.
touching wood is kind of asking for deliverance from Christ, that sort of thing. But in more ancient mythology, it was believed that the gods lived in trees. So when you were talking of some event in your life that you hope turn out all right, to knock a little on a tree would be just to ask the gods to provide that for you.
And the god will be like, I'm sleeping, go away.
Yeah, exactly. Who's doing like banging?
That is a good one.
Yeah, I like that one.
Right, I have one here from Denise. If I spill salt, I always throw oh God!
You shouldn't have done the salt one, should you?
Denise, if I spill salt, I always throw some over my left shoulder.
And would you like to know why you do?
I mean, why Denise does?
Well, yeah.
Go for it.
Okay, I found this one because I'm aware of this one as well. And again, I think my mum did that one. I'm having a memory of my mum doing that.
There's just salt all over your kitchen floor when you're a kid.
Salt is traditionally valuable.
Okay.
So when you spill salt, the idea is you throw a bit over your shoulder to ward off any evil spirits that are attracted by the salt.
Right.
And again, as I say it out loud, it sounds silly even for a superstition.
I have a question then.
Go on.
Why is it that you that you pour a line of salt around your doorway to stop witches and vampires getting in if it attracts the evil spirits?
Well, what a great point that is.
That's
Answers
in
on a
Hocus Pocus.
postcard, please.
That's in Hocus Pocus, where they do a line of salt and the witches can't cross.
I've only ever done that to ward off slugs.
It does do that, yeah. But no, so that confuses me. So why does it attract the spirits, but they can't cross it? But then you ward them off.
Maybe they can't go any further than the salt. They're distracted by the salt.
Maybe they need to be invited in, as we know vampires do.
Yeah, this is. I mean, does that count as a superstition?
No, that's a fact. Anyway, I had a great one in here from Emma, which I couldn't find a reason for, but I just really liked it. Don't cut your nails on a Friday.
What? Okay.
Which I don't. I literally I couldn't find anything for it. I don't know why. I just very much liked it.
It sounds like a little amalgamation of other ones that we've mentioned, doesn't it? It's almost like we're mixing, matching the ones that we like. Here.
Well, talking about amalgamation, I've just got two here that I just want to quickly mention that are to do with the number 13 again. How we had.
Oh yeah.
So Molly can't have the TV on volume 13.
I can't have it on an odd number. So
really,
there we go. Yeah, no, I always got to round it up.
Oh, I don't care. There are three types of people. No, four types. Those that don't care. Those that can't have it on an even number, those that want it on a multiple of 5, and those that want it on a round number. Yeah,
that's it. But I don't. It's not like I think my relatives are going to die if I don't remove the thing. It's just I just like it to be neat.
No, do you know what? That's one of those ones. I'm going to do that on purpose now. I'm just going to leave it on an odd number for you. And the other 13 one I had, sent in by Cody, which made me laugh. My grandma will not leave the house on a Friday 13th, but my dad was born on one.
Oh my God.
So
what a paradox that is. What a dilemma that throws you into.
Cody's nan will never go to Cody's dad's birthday parties. By the sounds of it.
I feel like there's something been engineered there, I feel.
Yeah. Maybe she's just like, I just don't want to go.
Yeah.
So I really liked those two
That's
13
a good
ones.
one. Yeah, I like that one. Okay, I've got a couple left here.
Yeah.
They're both I quite like both of them. I feel like one of them might trigger one of your stories that you've told me about a friend of yours. But let's start mirrors then. You break a mirror, 7 years bad luck. There is an idea in the article that I read. They were saying perhaps this is because it takes 7 years for all of your cells to regenerate.
Okay.
So technically speaking, scientifically speaking, you're a different person in 7 years. But the point of it is that a mirror was thought to reflect the soul.
Yes.
So if you break the mirror, you break your soul or whatever.
Ancient Egyptians thought that one, by the way.
Oh, well, see, that's ancient then, isn't it? I mean, literally
ancient
Egyptians.
Title, yeah.
But you can fix it, of course, by
buying a new mirror.
That too. I know the bad luck, not the absence of your reflection. You can bury the mirror.
Oh, the broken mirror.
The broken mirror. You're not a new one. The broken mirror in the moonlight.
Ooh, that sounds spooky.
Yeah, it does. It doesn't sound scientific at all, does it? But yeah, you could bury it in the moonlight, and it just triggered a memory that I had of one of your friends burying something.
Pop-Tarts.
Yes, which I don't think is a generally accepted superstition, but it was for something more purposeful, wasn't it?
What was it? I think she couldn't stop eating Pop-Tarts, so she buried them under a full moon, and it stopped her eating them. And I was like, well, yeah, because you've buried them. You're not going to eat them now they're underground. Hey,
it worked. That's all that matters. You know what I mean?
Also, talking of mirrors, I used to be really funny with mirrors. Like I'm not anymore, but I used to be really funny with mirrors at night. Okay. I used to really hate it. And I think I must have watched a film or I must have seen something. But if I stayed anywhere that wasn't... So I always made sure in my house, from my bed, I couldn't see any mirrors.
Yeah.
Right now we can see the mirror on the front of your wardrobe. Well, I can see that when I'm in bed.
Yeah.
But I used to not be able to see mirrors when I was in bed because I didn't like to see them at night. And if I was staying anywhere, and I remember doing this is absolutely true.
Yeah.
I stayed in a hotel that had a mirror at the end of the bed, and before I went to sleep, I covered it with a towel.
Oh, wow!
Because I think it was something like ghosts could use it as a portal and come out of it and stuff like that.
Yeah, so good reason then.
Yeah, obviously. And also what I find really funny is like, So if a ghost has the power to travel through dimensions to come through a mirror, a towel's going to stop them?
A towel stops everything.
So I used to cover it, and I remember once I was staying in a hotel in Ireland with my ex, actually, one of my exes, and he was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm obviously covering the mirror, duh." Like it was. So this was when I was like 17, 18. Like this was quite. But I think I just honestly, I think laziness just got me out of it. I was like, I'm not covering the mirrors now.
Isn't it amazing how many of these sorts of thoughts very much resemble the sort of thoughts, or come from the thoughts we had as a child, when we were afraid of the dark and when we didn't understand the idea of how we kept ourselves safe.
Monsters under the bed.
That's it, all that kind of thing. And I think a lot of them are born from that time in our life. And you know, bringing this back to, as we inevitably do, you know, mental health, emotional well-being, this is where a lot of our rituals come from.
Yes.
The things that when we were still learning, when we were a blank page and we were just learning what life was all about, we inevitably had slightly magical thinking going on.
Yes.
And that became our reality. And that early reality is very difficult to just shift without it having some impact upon us. You know? I mean, I talked before about, in the podcast I talked about it, where when I went away for a week to my nan's when I was younger, and I put the date block to the date it would be when we returned, and then
trying to be, you know, productive.
Yeah, exactly. You know, forward thinking. And our rabbit died while we were away.
What was the rabbit called?
Flopsy. R.I.P.
Forever and ever, sweet prince.
And you know, and it was just, and for some reason that put that little knowledge in my head. Oh yeah, if you do that, it's bad luck. You know, if you put the date ahead, it's bad luck. So I don't do that anymore. And I know, you know, my pet spiders aren't going to die if I do it tomorrow, but I won't do it because there's a bit of me thinking, well, you don't want to tempt fate, do you?
So you've just reminded me of one that I did not have written down, but I do want to talk about. So my nan, Roman Catholic, most superstitious woman you'd ever meet in your life. Yeah. So she did not trust pearls.
Oh, I've heard of this one as well, yeah.
So she thought pearls were unlucky. She thought they were bad luck. Like, we didn't wear them. We didn't go anywhere near them. We didn't have them on clothing. Like, she absolutely couldn't stand them, right? Yeah. And then, I can't honestly remember whether this was before or after my nan died. I really can't. But someone, I think a friend of my mum's or something, I can't remember. But I basically ended up with a mother of pearl bracelet. And I remember it was like pink pearls, sort of in like little silver coating. And I ended up with this bracelet. And I remember what my nan said, but I was like, but it's really, really pretty. And then I kind of justified it in my head. I was like, but it's mother of pearl. It's not quite pearl. And it's pink. And anyway, so I wore it. And the first time I wore it out, I crashed my bike. I went over the handlebars and I broke the arm the bracelet was on and the bracelet itself. Wow. First time I went out with it on.
The universe was watching.
And since then, and you will attest to this, I do not have pearls.
You do not have pearls, no.
Anything. To the point where our friend Lizzie made me a customised denim jacket for our wedding. And it's all kind of sea themed. And she was like, and she put some seashell patches on it. She's like, I'll put some pearls on it. And I was like, no.
Imagine if she'd have put pearls on a wedding gift for us.
I know.
We would have split up by now.
Absolutely. You know, I would have taken the house.
Absolutely.
So pearls, yes, but because of that happened, my brain just instantly went, well, Nan was right.
Yeah,
clearly, exactly. I don't go near pearls now.
Exactly, and it's what that Wikipedia definitely said: a misunderstanding of causality, and that's what we do when we're younger.
I mean, you've got to admit. Like,
it's a bit of a coincidence, isn't it? We can't ignore that.
I broke that arm and then the bracelet. I think, you know, we've got to at least entertain. I mean, you're laughing, but I'm absolutely being serious.
It's worth funding a study into it, isn't it? I think. You know? I've got one left here that I thought I know about, but I didn't know the details of. The significance of a horseshoe.
Oh, okay. Like how people have metal horseshoes on their wall and stuff. Oh,
by the way, I'm going to backtrack because while you were saying about pearls, peacock feathers as well are bad luck apparently.
Really?
Because I used to go. Feather. Yeah, I used to go out with a girl who made bags and sold them at Greenwich Market, and she had some peacock feathers and made a couple of absolutely stunning bags incorporating the peacock feathers.
Yeah.
That weekend at the market. Sold loads of bags, people kept saying, I love that, but I can't have it because it's a peacock feather and that's bad luck.
No.
And amazing how many people had that as a bad luck.
I've never heard that one. I love a peacock feather.
Yeah, well, I think they look beautiful, don't they?
Yeah.
But I mean, apparently it's bad luck.
Did not know that.
I don't know why that is, though. I didn't research that one, so I've literally just came into my mind as you were talking about pearls.
So if you know why, answers on a postcard, please.
Yeah, I'd like to know that, actually. Horseshoe, then. Right. You see a horseshoe and you pick it up.
And all day long you'll have good luck.
Well, I don't know if that's the rhyme, but it is good luck to find a horseshoe.
What if you're living near a stable?
I think, you're massively lucky. I think, but here's the thing. The other thing I found was, if there are any nails in the horseshoe, obviously because many horseshoes are nailed on.
Which I think's really weird, but yeah.
It is weird,
It
actually.
is
When
weird.
you see a
Nail
farrier
your shoe on.
Yeah, you see a farrier at work. And also it's like blindingly hot as well. It's burnt on as well, isn't it?
Oh, God.
But I don't think the horses feel it, though. Don't worry.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Don't worry. Don't be worrying about that
Don't
now.
harm the animals.
But yeah, the nails, the number of years good luck you will receive from that particular horseshoe.
Absolutely ridiculous.
But the idea is you can put it above your door,
yes,
but you have to have it
the right way up.
Open upwards so that you're allowing in all the good luck to fill up.
What if you put it up the other way?
I suppose you empty out all your good luck.
I've seen horseshoes sort of around. I'm sure our local pub, I'm sure they've got horseshoes all over it, and I think it might be just because we live in the countryside.
Yeah, probably is, to be fair. But here's the thing. Another thing you can do if you find a horseshoe for good luck, pick it up with your right hand.
Right, okay.
Not your left, your right hand.
Oh, God,
now.
yeah.
Spit on one of the ends.
What?
Now, listen, this is very specific instructions.
In COVID time? In the middle of a panini?
Spit on one of the ends.
Right.
Make a wish, throw it over your shoulder.
Spread COVID.
And then have good luck. Now, the thought that immediately occurs to me is if I find a horseshoe and pick it up, somebody might have already gobbed on that.
God!
And I might be picking up...
That's disgusting!
A dribble-drenched horseshoe. Because that's not very good luck.
No, thank you.
The
last one I've got that I just wanted to quickly say that I have no reasoning behind it. It's sent in by Jules, who even says, not sure if it's classed as a superstition, but it really made me laugh and I wanted to include it as the last thing I said. Not sure if it's classed as a superstition, but I had to eat a Mars bar 1 hour before I did any exam.
Oh, wow.
And I really, really like that one.
I like that as well.
And do you know what I think? I think, it keeps your sugar up, keeps your attention going. I think you're going to have a good exam from it. So I advocate Mars bars before every exam.
I love that. I love that. I feel like I'm sure I had some exam rituals as well, but I can't for the life of me think of them now. But, everyone has that sort of... We love rituals. Yeah,
yes.
As human beings, we seek to control the things that are beyond our control.
Yes.
And our rituals are the way we kind of try and impose some sort of control by doing something that isn't directly causally related to what we're going into, but all the things that are out of our control, maybe this will influence it in some way.
It's also a comfort as well, isn't it?
Well, that's what I mean. It is. It allows us to feel safe, even if it's only like like for false reasoning, for misplaced reasoning. But it allows us to feel safe, and so all these superstitions. We don't, some people have said to me, "Oh, it's a bit of OCD, that is, isn't it? When you got a superstition." I don't really think it warrants that label.
Do you know what? One of my big pet peeves is people saying it's a bit OCD.
Yeah, it's like when I straightened one of my mats on my table once in front of a client.
Oh yeah.
And they said, "Oh, bit of OCD there." And I was like, no, I just like my
like
placemats being neat. I don't want it to be crooked.
As someone who knows people with OCD, and as someone who, I've dealt with like obsessive skin picking like half of my life. When people say, "Oh, it's a bit OCD," it's like I just think it's really sort of we've taken it and have gone to a casual level with it that I think it maybe doesn't deserve. Yeah,
and I think I had a friend many years ago who kind of arrived at one of the, I think it was a band rehearsal we were having or something like that, or it was a gig we were at or something.
Were you in a band?
Have I not mentioned that? Oh, it does sound like I was just trying to shoehorn that in the conversation, doesn't it? But no, a friend that I knew a while back, and he arrived to see us one day, and he looked really distraught, and it was because he'd gone to the doctor, and the doctor had casually said, "You displaying some kind of OCD thinking." Right. And he then was taking it as a diagnosis of obsessive compulsive disorder that would now impact upon the rest of his life. Yeah. And I think there's a danger when we label stuff like this, which is, and all of this stuff, it does come from some sort of magical thinking. It does come from a very naive, childish thought pattern, but that's where we all start out. Yeah. Every single one of us at some point in our childhood developed a really hard and fast belief that when we look at it with our logical adult sort of thoughts and perspective,
Yeah.
we think that doesn't really make sense. There's no reason why I should think that, except for the fact that that's what I started to think at some point.
But then, though, if you do a thing and then something happens, like after you've done the thing,
It validates it.
it validates it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
and then you kind of go, oh God, now I need to do that. And then when something bad happens, you're like, is it because I didn't do that?
Yeah,
You know, is it
exactly.
because I didn't spit on the horseshoe or whatever it was?
I think only good things can come from not spitting on horseshoes, I believe. But,
no, I agree.
But yeah, I guess the point I want to make as kind of a conclusion to all of this sort of superstition stuff we've been talking about is that these thoughts don't mean there's anything wrong with you. It means you have a human mind, and you would love to be in control of the things that are beyond our control.
Yes.
But ultimately, I tell you right now, the reason why you will be able to deal with the things you have no control over is because that's what you've been doing all your life.
Yeah.
You have control of you, and you're probably much better at dealing with challenges and difficulties than you've given yourself credit for, because you know what? You're still here and you're still moving forward. So everything, even the stuff that knocked you over and made you wonder if you could ever get the other side of it, you are the other side of it.
Yeah.
And the stuff that you're in the middle of at the moment, you will get the other side of it. Not because of these rituals, not because of these superstitions, but because that's what you do.
Yeah.
You handle stuff and you get the other side of the unexpected. You rise to the challenges and you live to fight another day.
Yeah, that's lovely. I mean, I saw a thing that said you have survived 100% of your bad days.
Exactly.
And I really, really like that because it's so true. It's, you know, whatever we're going through, whatever hard times we find ourselves in, we, like you say, we got through it before and we will get through it again.
Absolutely. That's superb. I love that.
Yeah.
I want to end on one new superstition that I have, just to kind of bookend the talk. Having said that, we can do all this without superstitions. I realise I have a new one.
Go on.
This was just before the lockdown. We bought a doorstop that is in the shape of a very charming looking hedgehog
With a bow tie.
We named him Nigel Hedgerson.
Hedgy.
You
To
know,
his mates.
at uni he was known as Hedgie, obviously, but his full name Nigel Hedgerson. And he's standing there when we come in and when we go to bed. He's like he's at the door. He kind of guards the door to the flat. Yeah. And if I don't say goodnight to Nigel when I'm on my way up the stairs at the end of the night, I feel it's wrong. I've got to double back and say night, Nigel.
I say hello and goodnight to Nigel as well because it's just his little face when you come through the door. You're like, "You all right, Nige?"
He's on his solitary his watch, if you
He
like.
is.
He is
He's in the Night's Watch.
He's a hedgehog of the Night's Watch. Brilliant. I feel like we're drifting past the good content
We've gone.
now.
Yeah. We're definitely.
I believe it is time.
Very superstition.
Brilliant.
Writings on the wall.
You just want to sing us out? Is that what we're going for?
I'll just.
All right. Well, let's go.
We don't get copyright for that.
Oh, it's going to be flagged up, isn't it? Okay. Thanks very much for joining us, everyone. Britt, where can people find us?
So, best place is probably Instagram. You can find me at Britt Marie Box, and you can find Tim at Tim Box Mind Coach. Please do feel free to get in touch. Let us know you're listening to the podcast. Tag us in your Instagram stories. Tag us in your photos. We just love to know where you guys are when you are listening to the stuff that we do.
And remember, everyone, keep thinking outside the box.
Bye.
Bye.